Hello, it's Bud. Recently, a forum member by the name of Leo contacted me, and he had a question about how he could rotate a large sign design. It was already developed according to the PDF, the tip and trick on My Big Sign, which is in the tips and tricks. It's issue 22 from July of 2009, where it actually shows, just a minute, I'll be back, where it actually shows how to do that. We're not going to go through that PDF, but it shows how to position the sign and how to do it in that respect. But we're beyond that. I just wanted to show you where it was, so that if you wanted to go look at that PDF, you could see how a big sign was designed. In this case, though, Leo had designed his sign and then decided, instead of cutting the board through the center and putting it on two pieces of wood, he wanted it so that he could separate it down the middle, and that's what we're going to deal with. So here is his design, and we looked at all this stuff to see what was going on and what we could get rid of to start with. Number one, this group here appears to have nothing in it, so we deleted it. He's got the 4th of July twice, and we determined this 4th of July is exactly the same as this 4th of July, so we got rid of the one that was unnecessary. The flags, one is the original and one is the mirror. So I'm going to click on this bottom one and see what happens when I throw it away. It throws both of them away. I don't want that. So I'm going to come up to edit and I'm going to do an undo. So I know that is my master. So I'm going to click on this one and throw this one away. I don't want the mirror, because on a mirror it puts it right side by side, and when I turn this, that's going to mess things up, believe me. You can try it, but it does mess things up. So I'm going to throw that one away. So now what I want to do is I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to move the pasted one over here. And I'm going to turn on my grid so I can see what I've got. And get rid of the wood grain just to make it a little easier for what we've got. And I'm going to throw in on it. Number one, I want to flip and rotate this. So I'm going to lay out and I'm going to flip it horizontally. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to position it as best I can so it matches this other one. I can see that it's just above this line. About like that. And it is one full block and about a quarter from the eagle pattern. So if I just move it just a little bit to the right, I would say it's about the same. I could actually draw a line and see where I am. I could, well, I could do it by this. It's okay. It's 3.982 from the center. So if I change this to 3.982 and then right click on that and remove the attachment. Whoop. That's about where I want it. Okay, so let me break for a second. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off the grids just to make it a little more plain here and back out so we can see what we got. Okay, so now I can take this flag waving and I'm going to put it below the other one within that group. Now let's look at a couple things. On the main pattern, I'll call it on the 4th of July, I'm going to layout, I'm going to look at center, and it's centered both ways. I'm going to undo that. All I have to do is click on it and I can cross check it just to show you nothing is lit anymore. Anything that's blue I can click on it and that undoes that centering. In this case both were blue, so all I had to do was check on center both and that erased it. On the eagle, go to layout, center, and it's not centered on anything. Flag waving, layout, center, nothing. Layout, center, nothing. So nothing is centered. And we can see that the large ribbon design, the point of this center is right on the center line. And now let's look at the board just so we know what we're dealing with. The board is 12 inches wide, 24 inches long, and he's going to keep that portion of the design the same. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything. I can go up to edit and do a select all. That gives me everything except the group. I'm going to hold down control, click on group, and now everything is centered. So now what I'm going to do is layout, flip and rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. And that gives me part of what I want, but not all. Okay, so from there I'm going to click on the ribbon, layout, center, vertical. Then I'm going to click on the eagle, layout, center, vertical. And now I'm going to move this to where I want it within the banner. And maybe I want to turn on my grids again just so I can see what I got. Okay, so I've got that where I want. So now I'm going to take this flag and I'll bring it over here, and I'm just going to put it so the white line is on this particular grid. Well, it's on two grids. It's centered. There's 2 blocks above and 2 blocks below, and I want it about 1.25 blocks away. So I've got that. So now I'll take the other flag. About a block and a quarter away. And it's on the white lines. So now I have everything positioned the way I want it. I have to go to 4th of July and lay out and uncenter that vertical. Have to go to Eagle, lay out and uncenter that vertical. So now what I can do is, again, go to Edit, select all, hold down Control, click on Group. Now everything is selected. And he wants to make this larger. In reference to what he can get on the board here. Again, I'm going to turn on my grids just so I can see what I've got. I'm going to bring this down here a little bit, and I'm just going to stretch it out. So I stretch it just a little bit more than that. Okay, and what I'm doing now is I'm going to move the center, the yellow. I'm just moving the whole thing so that the yellow turns up right on the center line, just so I've got it centered within this board. And if we look real closely at the bottom, we can see that I've got the tip so that more than half of it shows, so that he's able to mill this board on a table saw or a jointer to get it exactly where he wants it for when he puts the two pieces together. But this now, I would go to File and Save As and name this particular version of this 4th of July pattern as 4th of July Wright or something of that nature. Then what I would do is again do a select all, click on my group, and I can move this thing up so again that I've got more than half of this point showing. And again, just for sake, I know he's going to cut this thing out. We don't have a cutout on it, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to center it within the board. If it would be on a door, he wouldn't be cutting it out necessarily. He would just be leaving it where it was, so it would have to be centered within the board, which I'm doing just by this. I could lock it to one end of the board as well, but I can do this by eye in this particular case. And then I would again go to File, go to Save As, and save this as 4th of July left. And I would have both MPCs for his large sign that he has now rotated on his board. And Leo, I thank you, and your question I know helped you with our long telephone conversation. If I remember, it was over an hour and a half as we worked through this, because I had to reverse engineer this thing to know what was going on. Even with our talking, we had to figure out what was going on, and both of us saw what worked and didn't work. We've cut out some of the didn't work stuff. We know that we can undo things, but for the sake of the lesson, I left some of those little nuances out of it. And I hope this helps everyone. Have a good day.